Hey guys, and welcome back to the Natty Scene and your update with me and Vicky.
Hi!
Hope you guys are good, and welcome back for another episode. So, rolling straight into things, how has your week been, Vicky, this week? I know there's been a few things going on, and some good things, some interesting things over the weekend and your trip. So, how's your week been, and has there been anything to sort of specifically talk about?
Yeah, well, we were just having a little bit of a chat off air because I kind of answered the phone with arms up in the air going, yay! Everybody, well, I don't know if everybody knows or whatever because I'm not obviously that fucking famous, but I went away this weekend with the family to a log cabin in the middle of the woods with no internet connection apart from Wi-Fi inside the log cabin. I tell you what, how fucking weird is that? And especially when I had check-ins to do on the Saturday, so it was all set up and everything. And on the Saturday morning, the entire Wi-Fi went down, like throughout the entire camp. And I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, fuck.
I couldn't get WhatsApps. Man, there's no phone signal. We're in the middle of a bloody forest, surrounded by wildlife and shit. So we had to actually drive into the nearest town, which was 20 minutes away. How do these people live, right? If
They
you
just
run
don't
out
do
of-
shit. They just don't do shit.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's weird. But it's like, if you run out of something, like if you run out of batteries for your scales, every bodybuilder's worst nightmare. Your batteries run out in your scales.
Yeah.
What the hell are you supposed to do? It's 20 minutes to the nearest store, and the nearest store is a Lidl or a Co-op.
Oh, that's not the end of the world, is it? 20 minutes. It's not like you're in the fucking wilderness, mate.
I was in the wilderness. I was waking
You're
up at
used
6
to
in the
walking
morning.
5 minutes for a fucking shop. That's the difference is.
I don't know. I think it was just a bit weird. It was really
You make yourself
surreal.
sound like bloody Bear Grylls.
Oh, I was. Tell you what, I was Bear Grylls that weekend. I was out in the forest. I was walking across like man-made bridges made from fallen trees, and we had to build dens. I was Bear Grylls.
Yeah. Yeah,
Anyway,
okay.
it was certainly not glamping, put it that way, but it was hilarious. And then walking the dog at 6 in the morning, because I always take him out at 6 in the morning because otherwise he'll shit all over my garden and it will be completely ruined.
Yeah.
So I always like to take him out, and it's nice for him as well, you know. So I was doing that, and we just came face to face with deer. And these things were just, I mean, they were epic. It's so beautiful to see. Everyone laughs at me when I do it because it's hippie woo-woo shit. But it's so nice to almost be one with nature and just get your headspace in that environment and see all of those natural wildlife creatures in their natural habitat.
Yeah.
Because you can see them in a zoo and it's like, oh yeah, it's a deer.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
if you know, or oh yeah, it's an elephant. But if you see one in safari in Africa on the plains, it's like, wow, that's an elephant. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit different.
Yeah, yeah,
So it was really, really nice. So we went running with deer in the forest, and the dog was going mental. He was limping by the end of the night because I had never ever seen him be so boundy going through these forests. Very funny. And Scott kept on lagging behind because he was taking photographs, and the dog just kept on running up hills and back down the hills to go and grab him. And then by the end of the night, yeah, he was limping a little bit. Funny, but it was epic. So yeah, I texted you a couple of times, didn't I, when I was over there, or can't remember whether I did, saying that I was in a really big funk on one day because my bloating had got so bad that I looked like I was ready to give birth. It was horrendous, and I'd never seen it so bad before, and it got me quite upset because I struggled to eat throughout the day as well because I was feeling full and sluggish and horrible. So cutting a long story short, anyway, I thought I'm going to have to do something about this. So instead of having 5 big meals that consist of like 500-600 calories throughout the day, I've just cut it down and now eating 9 times a day. But one of my meals is like rice cakes and peanut butter, for example.
Yeah.
And no bloat the entire week, and my hunger levels have been good. And
You're
I've got
basically
six
just
pack-
snacking as opposed to having 9 meals.
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
thing.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just so people don't think you're eating like 5,000 calories a day.
Because I'm a Trojan. Yeah, exactly. Don't know where I'd put it. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm still on high calories,
Yeah.
but it's just more smaller meals. I do still have a big meal post-workout, which has got a little bit more protein in it and some more carbohydrates in it. But that is literally meat and rice.
Yeah.
And that's all I have. I have no veg. I have nothing else. I don't drink either. Oh no, sorry. What I do is I've started having a carbohydrate-based shake as well immediately after I finish training, and then just wait for a bit, and then have a bigger meal. So those meals are like between my pre and my post-workout, proper post-workout meal. It is about 3.5, 4 hours.
But are you having anything intra-workout at all?
No, so I have rice flake porridge. I'll only have 50 grams of that now with scoop away and some fruit, mostly some blueberries and stuff. Then I'll just have I've got some EAAs, so I'm having some EAAs intra-workout.
Sure. Yeah.
Which are quite good. And then post-workout, I'll have a shake it's 60 grams. So it equals out to about 22 grams of protein and 29, maybe 30 grams of carbs.
Okay, sure. Is that like a blend of something? Yeah. Where is it from? What product is it?
Fission.
Oh, okay.
So Fission IX.
Okay.
It's really good. It's really good. And it's not spiked, and it comes with a certificate of authentication. Yeah. Which is really good.
Yeah.
So got that, and it's chocolate toffee apple flavour. So
okay.
Strong.
Yeah. Is it whey protein that makes up the protein, or?
Yes, whey protein, and then it's cyclodextrin that makes up your carbohydrate.
Sure. Nice.
So it's a nice blend, actually. It doesn't give me any issues either, because a lot of the time when I was having cyclodextrin intra, I was getting heartburn a lot.
Really? Wow.
I know.
I've literally had no one ever react badly to cyclodextrin.
I'm a bit fucked up though, aren't I? My digestive system's fucked.
Yeah.
So I react to pissing broccoli, for God's sake.
God damn it, yeah.
Yeah, so, but it doesn't give me any kind of reaction. And then an hour after that, 45 minutes to an hour after that, then I'll have either steak and rice or chicken and rice or something like that. But it will literally just be the meat and the rice on its own. And then after that, I'll have some carrots with me.
Yeah.
My next meal following up to that. But I am feeling so much better with it, and I'm sleeping well. My sleep has been epic. Only one night where I woke up at 4:30. And normally I wake up at 5 anyway, so it's that's not bad.
What time do you go to bed?
9:30.
Okay, well, that's not too bad then.
Oh yeah, I can't stay awake past 9:30.
No. Are you actually asleep at 9:30 though?
I'm probably asleep round about 9:45, 10 o'clock.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's not too bad.
Because I've started going to bed, and I know it sounds really funny, but I used to years ago couldn't get to sleep unless the television was on. It was almost like it was too eerie and dark for me, that the bogeyman was going to come and get me or something. Like if you sleep and you've got a leg outside of the bed or uncovered, the bogeyman's going to get you. Yeah, it was the same with that. If it was complete darkness, I could not sleep. So I had to have the TV on. Whereas now, I can't have anything on. It's like, no, the TV has to be off.
It makes no sense in terms of getting a deep sleep, in terms of having anything on. You want a totally black room and total silence. When I was prepping, I couldn't sleep without earbuds because I had to have complete and utter silence because my body was so awake. It would need to be put to bed by proper supplementation, sometimes melatonin as well, topical, and then it would be blackout blinds, blackout fucking mask over my face. I'd need everything to get to bed. But my sleep quality was really good. I'm sleeping tons right now. I go to bed at 10 and I wake...
Are you still sleeping with earbuds and stuff?
No, I don't sleep with earbuds. I just sleep with a sleep mask, and that's the only thing I use. And I use zinc and magnesium.
Right. It's funny, isn't it? Because I tried using the earbuds when you suggested it when I was on prep last year because Scott was snoring. And when I put those earbuds in, if you just kind of close your ears off, you have this ringing almost.
Oh, what,
and it's
titanus?
Almost like you can hear your heartbeat and everything.
I love that shit.
I couldn't bear it. I was just like, it's like Chinese water torture. I just can't hear it. And because I've got an ectopic heartbeat anyway, so everybody's heart goes lub-dub. Well, mine doesn't. Mine goes lub-dub and then basically has a hiccup and goes and then goes back to lub-dub. So when it does that flutter thing, I'm like, shit, I'm having a heart attack because you can't hear it normally.
Yeah.
But
No,
yeah.
I love just switching off. I need to switch off massively to get restful sleep. But yeah, I think that the more the deeper that I get into this off season, the more I'm sleeping. So I sleep in more than I have done ever in the past. I wake up now at like, if I'm not doing a podcast in the morning, I'll wake up at like 8 and I'm going to sleep at like 10.
Nice.
I am getting so much sleep. But in favour for that, because I've lost a bit of work time in the morning, I work later as well. But I put my blue light blockers on at like 8 p.m.
Right.
And then usually it would be like work all the way in the morning, and then train, and then come back and chill out. But now it's like work, train, and then come back and do more work, and then go to bed, which is fine. I'm not got any issues with that at all, because if I can maximise my sleep, then I'd rather take that over anything. And personally, anecdotally, I've seen like I can recover from any shit right now. Like my recovery is just incredible. I do not get sore. I don't feel run down. I don't get niggles at the moment. I've just taking my heart rate variability, and that's always perfect, which I do believe is a good tool. There's been a decent amount of sort of use of it within athletes, namely in like more marathon-based or distance-based, endurance-based sports. HRV is basically, for anyone that wants to know, it's basically the gap between your heartbeats. That's what it measures. The higher your HRV, the better. So like a lot of people think you need like a low HRV. That's bad. The lower your HRV, the more you're going to the sympathetic nervous system as opposed to parasympathetic. And there's a good app as well which I use called Elite HRV, which links up to like a chest strap or it links up to any sort of Bluetooth chest strap. You can't use a Fitbit or anything like that. And
gotta use your polar jobbies.
Fucks me off this Fitbit scenario, because like I've got 4 questions this week about whether I use my Fitbit to work out my calories for the day, and it's just like using it for sleep quality. Like, what is it actually measuring? It's measuring your heartbeat, and it's measuring it very inaccurately. So it's not going to tell you how many calories you accurately burn in a day. It's just not. And it's also not going to tell you how you're sleeping. It just can't. Because to accurately tell how you're sleeping, you'll need to go like into one of those fucking monitoring chambers where they monitor your breath, they monitor your heart rate with an actual thing that's taking your heart rate effectively,
not your brain waves.
Yeah, not something that's on your wrist very loosely with a little electronic magnet or something, or whatever it's picking up. So yeah, I certainly don't use Fitbits to calculate my calories.
No.
But anyway, moving on to sort of the topic this week. We were going to discuss a little bit as to cardio choices and potentially what we use amongst our clients to either get them lean or whether we use cardio in a gaining phase. So Vicky, you take this first. What has been throughout your preps, your sort of use of cardio? Have you gone through phases of using HIIT, using lists, using step tracking, and what have you sort of come to the conclusion as to what potentially was best for you in terms of a fat loss phase?
Well, steps is a good tool to obviously monitor, because that monitors your NEAT levels. And for me, I've always got very, very high step count because I've got the dog, I've got the kids. I work PT as well, 2 evenings a week now, that have now, it's just 1.5 days realistically. So my NEAT levels were high, and I'd managed to keep an eye on my steps. Cardio wise, for my personal prep last year, I only actually did like 45 minutes of lists a day. Yeah. Coming into my last bit of my fat loss phase, I was quite lucky. I can lose weight very, very quickly just through manipulation of food. Yeah. I don't tend to lose weight very quickly through manipulation of cardio. So it was just a little bit of expenditure, or maximizing expenditure, especially when I started taking the Inbine. And your Himbine is better if you do it before fasted cardio. It works a little bit more efficiently.
Yeah.
So it was just 45 minutes of list cardio, which I opted for a recumbent bike near the later stages of prep. Throughout my beginning part, where I was at my fattest, I did do intervals because I had more energy. And it was quicker, and I could do it at any point. I did it on some rest days, or...
Did they affect your training at all?
Say again?
Did they affect your training at all, your recovery capacity?
No, because I only did it on completely separate days, or I did it about 6 to 8 hours apart from my training days if I had to do it on a training day. So no, it didn't do it. And for anybody who says, oh, you can do HIIT intervals after your training session, and if you can do that efficiently to get your heart rate up to 160, 170 in a HIIT session, then one, you haven't trained hard enough, because when I finish my training session, there's no way I can do HIIT intervals, regardless of how many I need to do. Not a fucking chance. Yep. I could probably walk a bit, but there's no way that I could do HIIT. So I used to do that either first thing in the morning after something to eat, because I wouldn't advise doing HIIT on a fasted stomach, or I used to do it on a completely separate day, so it didn't affect my training whatsoever. And if I did do HIIT in the morning before my training session, then I made sure I got a hell of a lot of food in before I obviously started my big training session as well for my weights. With clients, that's what worked for me. With my clients, it completely depends. So I have 2 girls competing tomorrow, which I'm leaving to go to Bristol in a little while.
Awesome. What show are they doing?
It's one called Glifting. So it's one for first timers. It's a bit more of like a bikini softer look. It's certainly not bodybuilding.
It's like wellness.
Almost exactly the same as wellness, but they have categories like transformation categories and mums that lift and things, because one of my girls is in epic shape. She's done a fantastic transformation, lost like 8 dress sizes. But of course, because of that, and because she's had a little boy as well, she's got a lot of loose skin on her stomach, which has put her down in a category for a bikini one. So this one is absolutely perfect for her, for the transformation category. Now, that girl that I've just been talking about, Maria, she has done no cardio at all. And she's still on, I think I've just increased her food again yesterday, because I like feeding my clients up into the show, depending on what they look like. So she's on 2,000 calories and losing weight.
Lovely.
But then I've got my other girl who is bob on body fitness or wellness, whichever one you want to look at it. She's got a big set of legs, a big bum, tiny, tiny waist, and a beautiful set of shoulders and an epic back now, you know. But she's down to like 1,100 calories, and she had to do some high intensity cardio. Yep. She hated list cardio. She found it boring. She was always moaning about it. So I said, well, do you know what? Then we'll do some HIIT. See what you like on that one.
Now, what's the disparity between the amount of time that those girls have spent dieting? Is the girl that's on low calories has completed some other diets that have taken her to pretty lean conditions before, and has the other one spent more time in the surplus?
So I've been working with Maria for over a year, so I know exactly how her body works. I dealt with her in an off season. I dealt with her to get through into a photo shoot, so I know how her body reacts. We also managed to get her calories up from about 1,300 when she first came to me, doing like 2 hours of cardio a day and things, suffering from enormous binges on the weekends. So we managed to get her calories from 1,300 up to 2,400 with no cardio, and she realistically put on 5 pounds, but never binged. And her body composition changed immensely. Now, Lindsay, my other girl, I've been working with her for 18 weeks. She came to me very flat, very soft. Again, only eating about 1,200 calories a day to begin with. Yep. So I didn't have a lot of time to kind of build her back up. But we did. We got her calories up to about 1,750. And then throughout, I've been reducing her calories slightly, and I mean ever so slightly. She's been working like a fucking trooper in the gym. So we got most of her expenditure out through her training. And we only got down to 1,100 calories 2 weeks ago. And now started to bring them back up again. So I think lowest was on 1,100 calories, and then from yesterday she got back up to 1,250 just to kind of fill out a little bit more, and she looks leaner, obviously.
Yeah.
But she had to go very low carb. You know, a high carb for her didn't work at all, because of the simple fact that her body just wasn't absorbing them right. She wasn't lean enough. Her insulin response wasn't very good, so she had to go very low carb, and she responded very well to that. So again, it's individualized for cardio. I think you do need to, but this is where the art of coaching comes in, and it's like your story was. yeah, this is what your story was on Instagram the other day. Just because somebody is a good athlete doesn't mean that they're a good coach.
Yeah.
Somebody, oh, do you know, oh, that's safe for another podcast, but I'll do that another day. Same goes with your nutrition. It's very, very, very easy to put somebody into a fucking deficit. But is that going to affect their performance? Yes, it is. And if you're telling somebody to go on 800 calories to make weights, but they can't fucking pick up a bar, that's not coaching. I'm sorry.
Gets one part of the job done, but the main part is not done at all.
No.
Yeah, so I think I can totally relate in terms of the disparity and differences in people and how they assimilate food and whether they can diet on high calories or not. And for the most part, the more I learn about this, the more I realise that the people that have actually spent time eating enough and doing that for a long period of time tend to lose really well on very good calories. Like, AJ, who I met up with over a couple of days ago, he's still on like 400 carb. We just literally dropped from like 450. He's been losing weight on like, 3,100, 3,200 calories for the most part of his prep. We'll have to get lower than that, and he fucking knows that, because to bring in his lower half and his posterior chain, he's gonna have to get lower. He absolutely knows that. It was the same. It was a weird thing with my prep last year. I had to get fucking low at some points, and at some points I was comparing my data from that prep to the one that was a couple of years before, when I'd had the year off season. I was like, I'm not as lean as I was here, but I'm on lower calories. Like, what the hell is going on? I'm doing more cardio. Obviously, towards the end, I finished really strong. But in the midst of it, I was on pretty low food and doing a lot of work. And the reality was, I look back as to why that happened. It's because I was a lazy little shit in my off-season. And I was eating not enough and not enough consistency. So I'd eat throughout the week like 3,000 calories, because that was just what I ate. I just ate 3,000 calories. That was it. And then I'd, over the weekend, go out for a couple of meals, bump up my weekly caloric average, and then I'd be like, oh, okay, that's fine. If it fits your macros, bruh. Like, fuck that. And
Strong.
yeah, strong. Like, it was just a stupid way to look at my off-season in terms of consistently trying to maximize my metabolic potential, push up food to where it's consistently high, and giving your body, like, getting your body used to that intake is so beneficial, especially for girls. Like, they'll see numbers on like carbs, or they'll see numbers on calories, and they'll start to get scared. For some of my females, I've blanked out the calorie column, and I've blanked out some of their macros, and I just tell them, right, okay, this is what this is gonna look like in terms of a day, and they don't even know how many calories they're consuming, and I just tell them like what to eat, because they've been so scared about numbers and focusing on the fact that I can't eat over 200 carb without gaining fat. I can't eat over 60 fat without gaining fat. So sometimes I'll literally just tell them what to eat. They don't have a clue what they're eating, and I just know that I'm getting the scale weight data, and that's great, and that's all I need. That is a pain in the arse to do, though. Trust me.
Absolutely.
But it's worth it with some people that are really trying to invest. And it gets them to a point where we can then diet, and we have a really good high start point, and we can start coming back off that. And then and it gives you so much more room to make changes. People will argue all day that, your metabolism is really not that adaptive. But trust me, when you've gone through really harsh diets, and if you fail to push up your calories enough to adapt upwards, you'll still be suppressed from a metabolism perspective before you even start your next diet.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I cannot stress the importance of consistency when you're in a gaining phase, and it's so integral, guys. So you've really got to master that. Going out for the occasional meal, and spending time with family, social events, etc., all well and good. Do it. Definitely do it. It's a time to be doing it. But there's no fucking reason, especially if your appetite is minimal, there is no reason why you can't equate for that in your day and still hit roughly your numbers. There's no reason to suggest that you need to backload all your calories for that social event, or just deem it as a complete cheat meal, eat all your usual meals, and then on top of all your usual meals, eat a giant cheat meal and go into a larger surplus than you require. I'm very passionate about that because I fucked it up myself, and I've done an off season where I haven't been consistent, and it set me up for maybe more work than I needed to do in a prep, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was maybe harder than I needed to make it, but regardless of my situation, I'll still do the work.
Yeah, for sure.
But
because we enjoy doing it as well. That's the difference. You enjoy the process.
But some people will have a hard prep, Vic, and they'll back out. I've had at least 5 clients back down on preps this year. Because they get into the swing of things, and they're like, oh, I don't really like this. I prefer, especially if they've been in a long gaining phase, they just get really quite comfortable with the fact that they're eating plenty, performance is great, and you get quite attached to that process. It's why me and you both miss contest prep right now, because we did it for so long, and it was a huge part of our year. We had a lot of enjoyment that came out of it. We have a lot of attachment to the dieting process. So when we're in a gaining phase and everything becomes somewhat easy, in a sense that, you're not having that hunger necessarily, not as high. You're not having that. I find that I'm way more passionate about everything that I fucking do when I'm dieting, because I get this hunger creates a drive in me, especially constant hunger, finishing your last meal and being like, wow, fuck, I'm still hungry.
No more oats.
Yeah, now I finish all my food. I'm like, yeah, it's just bedtime now. Get to bed. I'm done eating calories for today. So yeah, it's an interesting one. I've gone on a bit of a rant on that, but I'm sure there's bits and pieces that people can take from that and make sure that they're applying. It's as important as just the same for males and females. Consistency, and you should see it within what me and Vic do. Vic could quite easily accept that she's going to be bloated and not try and fix it and not try and mess about with things, but she's you've done a crazy amount of work to try and sort it out, and from my perspective, I wish I could have told you exactly what was going to work, but it's like anything. On the other podcast I was on earlier in the week, someone mentioned the fact that some clients wish to have a plan or wish to have the next 6 months laid out in front of them. And I'm like, fuck that. I can barely tell you what's happening next week, mate.
Exactly. People who have that timeline, I always say the perfect plan on paper is never what actually happens. Yeah. It's never what happens. That's why even on the last 2 weeks for my girls coming up into prep, and Amber, who did her photo shoot, I literally got them to send me photos every day. Check in with me every day. Great. Send me photos every day, because I have no idea what your body's going to do. And they're like, oh, what's the plan for tomorrow? I'll tell you when you check in with me tomorrow. And it's not a lazy answer. That's actually a truthful answer, And I know sometimes it's a pain in the ass. It's like Lindsay's just been texting me here saying breakfast finishes at 9 in the hotel. Are my macros still the same? I'm like, send me over your pictures. So she's quickly sent over her pictures. I'm like, epic, right, macros are this. So she's now going to run down to the breakfast buffet and obviously have exactly what she has. But again, she's competing tomorrow. So her stipulations were macros are this based on your physique. However, you are not to go and have an epic binge just because it's in front of you. Stick to the same foods you've had throughout prep, because otherwise you're going to, maximize the risk of bloating and blow up and fill up with water and shit like that. Yeah. But anyway, that's another subject for another day, because I think we're just coming up on time now, are we not?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's been a good chat, so I'm happy I'm happy to call it a day here, and we can crack on with both our busy days. I wish your 2 girls, if your 2 girls listen to this or whatever, I wish them the best of luck. I hope they do really well. I'm sure they will. They've got a great coach, so.
Thanks.
It's cool that you're going up to watch them as well, Vic. That's
always
awesome. That's really cool.
Always.
I wish more people would do that, because a lot of people don't.
I think it's part and parcel of being a coach. I mean, it's a 3-hour drive for me, but that's what part of being a coach is. And I go and see everybody in their competitions, whether it's a lifting competition like this, whether it's the BNBF bodybuilding, whether it's strongman powerlifters, because I've got powerlifters as well, and strong men and women. So I'll go and see everybody.
Yeah.
We're more than just coaches. We're for life, right?
Yeah, I was the same. I still am the same. It's becoming a little bit more difficult now because I have some clients that are competing in abroad. This year.
I can't go to Australia.
I'd fucking love to, but it's the reality of doing that is a little bit harder than you want. But when I was starting out, I'd make a big thing about when I go to clients, like I'd take loads of pictures of me and my client. It's why I took quite a few of me and AJ the other day. It's just because I want to like boost. I want to make it look like I'm a coach, and I want to make it look like I'm building relationships with everyone that I coach.
For sure.
This is fucking important, guys. Just talk about what you're doing. Talk about what you're doing. Even if you aren't busy, I tell some of my people that are building an online base, even if you aren't busy, make yourself look fucking busy. Talk about the 5 clients that you've got like no tomorrow, and people will be like, whoa, you're really busy. Jesus, what are you doing? Even if you've got like 3 clients, you can make yourself look really busy.
Damn right.
But yeah, anyway, we'll leave it there, guys. Thanks very much for watching again, and we'll chat soon.
Cool. Strong.
Right, cool. See you later, guys.
Bye.